it's important for me to say I'm a founder because I never used to say I was a founder. I used to say I was a reluctant entrepreneur. There's something different about a founder and an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur wants to do business, but a founder wants to put something of him or herself into an organization, and hopefully it goes into the product, into the culture, in the team, and it outlasts him or her. And it took me 20 years to figure out that is what I wanted to do. Of that last 20 years, it's taken me 10 years to sort of articulate what is this passion thing, what is this energy, this drive, motivation thing, and how do you make it into a business? How do you put it into an organization? Why is it that people who follow their passion tend to be more successful than others? Or why is it that people who follow their passion tend to create new things? And one of the things I realized that is important for founders is to tell your story. What is your story? And I want to walk you through today maybe an outline of trying to articulate that. What is your personal story, or what is your hero's journey? Hero's journey is an outline that actually comes from Joseph Campbell's Hero Has a Thousand Faces. He basically studied all the myths, the initiation myths of the world, and said there's only one outline, there's only one storyline of the hero's journey. And he goes, it's true not only for literature, fiction, but it's also true of our own lives. And if we can look at our lives in terms of the hero's journey, maybe we can figure out what our influences are, why the chapters of our lives are this way, what is driving us to face our dragons, enter into caves, go into adventures, and what are we learning along the way so that we can give it back. Give it back to the community we came from, now our countries, our communities, our stakeholders, our customers, whatever they are. There's like 14 stages. I don't think I can make you suffer through 14 stages, so we'll compress them into like 6. The 6 chapters or the 6 stages of the hero's journey. And I'm encouraging you to travel with me as we go through the chapters. Try to see where are those stages in your life now or before. Joseph Campbell says, everybody goes through the hero's journey, and we go through it through several cycles in our life. You might have finished one already. You might be on one now. If you are a founder, you can probably tell this story. If you've closed companies, you can probably tell this story too. But also if you're on the way, if there's something sparking and exciting you, but you don't know what it is yet, this might be able to help you plot out the chapters. So if you can journey with me in your minds and try to see where the chapters apply to you. First stage, status quo and the call to adventure. This is the starting point of every hero. This is our starting point. They call it the boring, ordinary life. Normally, the hero is living the standard life that society expects. So whatever society expected of you. And I think for the Philippines, it's normal. Go to a good school, get good grades, get into a great companies, hopefully a multinational, and you stay there and you retire there. Right? Yeah. Find stability. Find practicality. There's often relative tranquility, meaning okay lang. Life is not bad. Life is not bad, but life is not that good. There's sort of something missing. There's something I'm looking for a little. I'll use the example of Tony Stark and Iron Man. So Tony Stark, what's his status quo? He's a rich billionaire playboy, and he's always looking for the next thrill, the next big adventure. He's looking for something, he can't seem to find it. Since it's Ignatian Week and we're in the Ateneo, we'll also use the example of Ignatius of Loyola, who was a founder, no? He was the founder of the Society of Jesus. So where was the starting point of Ignacio? He was a social climbing playboy. He was a social climbing, basically. He wanted to rise up the ranks in society by being a soldier, find glory, be distinguished in battle, and catch the eye of some royal maiden and marry into royalty. That was his strategy. Often in the status quo, there's this nagging call to adventure. It's this silent voice. It's something that bugs you. Why am I not happy? I'm doing what society is telling me, what my parents are telling me. How come I'm not that happy? Is this it? Why do I feel stuck? Why am I looking for something more? Is there something more if I'm looking for it? Ignatius wanted to rise up the ranks, to be somebody, to be recognized. Tony Stark, what is he looking for when he's dating the next supermodel, buying the latest car, being adventurous? What's he looking for that he's not getting? Founders often start like that too. There's this itch you can't scratch, and you're always getting excited about something, but you don't know what it is sometimes. Calls happen in this state of status quo. They say if you're not listening to your inner voices, calls happen in a big dramatic event. Calls to adventure break you from the status quo. Tony Stark was literally kidnapped and taken from his ordinary world into this new world. Now, the world is not the same. He cannot be a rich millionaire playboy anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. Ignatius of Loyola, another dramatic event. In his quest for glory, he goes into battle, gets hit by a cannonball, and finds his distinction. Everybody says, wow, look at this guy. His valor, his bravery. He's so brave that his enemies put him on a stretcher and bring him home. But his leg is no longer, he's broken his leg. And he has to break it again. He has to break it again. So for founders, what's that? What's that knowing call? Sometimes it's long and slow. I like to use the example of the Disney princesses. Ariel wants to be part of somebody else's world. Belle is looking for something more than this provincial life. And Moana is somehow called by the sea and she doesn't know where it's going to take her. Why do I have this nagging thing? You have people like Tony Stark, Batman, St. Ignatius. Something dramatic happens. I have a friend, his mother passed away, and he goes, it made him think, what am I doing with my life? If life is short, what am I doing with my life? Sometimes it's slow and knowing. You're growing up to it, but there's always something bugging you. I like to use the example of Superman. Superman grows up and he says, why am I different? Why is there, why can I do this? And if I can do this, who am I? And if I answer that question, who am I also answer the question, therefore, what am I meant to do? That's where calls are. It can be dramatic, it can be slow, but it disturbs you. It disturbs you from the status quo. I wake up in the morning and I see signs. Why am I meeting people like this? Why am I reading things like this? Its signs seem to be pointing me that I should be, pointing me to something, that I should be doing this. How do I know? How am I sure? How do you know if calls are real? Because they keep on coming back. But these are things you liked to do or wanted to do when you were a kid. 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old. Something you wanted to do entering to university, into college, but you didn't know how to do it. Or as you're doing your first corporate job, it keeps on coming back. And that's how you know it's real. Stage 2, mentors and gurus. You meet people along the way. Luke meets Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. Harry Potter meets Dumbledore. Tony Stark meets this kind old doctor who puts that magnet in his heart to save him, but also teaches us something about life. That maybe life is meant to give to others, in service of others. Something larger than your own, addictions, things that make you just happy for a short time. Maybe life is meant for something more. And it makes him think, how am I living my life? Ignatius says that the Holy Spirit instructed him as if I was a child through my feelings, through experiences. He calls it consolation and desolation. When this happens, when I read this, when I have this thought, it makes me peaceful, energized, motivated. But when I think this pattern of thoughts, I feel anxious, unpeaceful, negative. And he reads the lives of saints, and he reads the Bible, and he sees those archetypes of heroes. He wanted to be knights, but they were no longer fighting for honor, but they were fighting the fight for good versus evil. And something about that excited him inside. And why am I excited? Why am I excited? So we learn along the way. And we all have teachers and we all have professors or chance encounters, serendipitous encounters that happen to us that sort of push us along the way. One of my favorite stories is I've always wanted it to be in media, but I didn't know how to do it, and I don't think I would have fit the network. I would be like a square peg in a round hole, and I knew I wouldn't fit, so I didn't have a choice. Maybe when I was 29 years old, so this was 10 years into my journey, I asked my friend, can you help me do a strat plan? I want to put up my own company. If I can't find my place, let me make my own place. And his first question was, Jake, what do you want to do? No, I want to be stable. No, that's not, we're not talking stability. Do, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to build a local media company that does lifestyle shows, that's intelligent and young and world-class and can make you think and maybe even inspire people. That's what I want to do. Do you know how to do it? No. And it's frustrating. I've been in the industry, I took my MBA, I worked for this, I was doing mergers, acquisitions of media companies. I should know the answers, but I don't, so it's so frustrating. And so I go, so what's next? Okay, I will listen. I will listen to God and the universe. If I really want this, I will listen to where the opportunities are. And if there are no opportunities, then I'll give it up. So we end the meeting, say goodbye, and then the phone rings. It was the owner of a small cable company. And he goes, Jake, what you doing? Oh, we're just meeting Tito, asking about what's next for us in media. I want to put this small group together. Well, maybe you can help us, because we're thinking of pitching these local lifestyle channels. No? Something that can be inspiring, it's young, it's all local. We want to make people think, we want to talk about lifestyle, and we don't know how to do it. And of course, my jaw went like this. And I realized, be careful what you wish for, because God just might give it to you. So there are mentors, there are calls, there are signs. They keep on coming back. Calls are automatic. That's what I like to say. The way we're built, our influences, what we like, dislike, what we see in an environment. Calls are automatic. You will get attracted to something. Making the decision to follow it is not. So this is the third stage, crossing the threshold and departure. You literally have to cross the door and leave your old world. So Tony Stark is trapped in the room, remember? He's kidnapped, he created this suit, and he has a choice. Do I play the game with the terrorists, just pay the money, get out, and I can get back to my old life? Or do I put on the suit, fight my way out, and see if maybe at this moment I can change my life from the happy playboy that just made money out of weapons to something else. He has to literally cross the door. And that's what he does. He makes a choice. The doctor sacrifices his life for Tony Stark. He goes out the door, fights his enemies, and now he leaves. He leaves not just the place where he's kidnapped, but he leaves his old life to start something new. Now he's in a new world. Ignatius of Loyola did the same thing. Once he recuperated, he brought his armor and his sword. He goes to Our Lady of Montserrat, and we have that famous statue of Ignatius kneeling and offering his sword to Our Lady. No longer the princess and the queen that he wants to woo, but now to serve Our Lady, the mother of his king, Christ. And he changes. He leaves his armor behind. He takes on the garments of a pilgrim. So often, once you cross the threshold or you leave, there's a change in attire. Ignatius changes his attire, and he leaves. He leaves his homeland to journey to Spain. I will leave my old life, I will leave my old world, and now this is my new thing. This is my startup, Project Me, Project Pilgrim. So what are the doors you literally cross, and what are the things you leave behind? For me, one of the big moments was when we rented an office. So I was running the company for about 3-4 years. And basically, I was freelancing. I had a company, I would get contracts, pay myself, recruit a team. When we're done, we're done. So we don't need an office. I was operating out of my bedroom with one iMac. So it's the garage, the startup garage stories. And then we found this big contract, broadcast. Now we were going to start this show called Green Living with ANC 7 years ago. And now I had to rent an office. And when I crossed the door, I go, oh, I can't be freelancing anymore because I have overhead. And the size of the contract means I need people. So suddenly I have problems of, the challenges of recruiting. How do you recruit? How do you compensate? Diba? What are the contracts? I didn't need contracts before. I was freelancing. So there's really a change. Something is happening. You cross a door and you leave an old world behind. I left the old world of freelancing to become a founder. The challenge is different. The adventure begins. Every adventure has stage 4 challenges. Diba? Ignatius, he had so many challenges. He didn't have money. He didn't have a place to stay, so he was literally the millennial backpacker looking for places to sleep and who would feed him. From pilgrim, he goes, oh, I think to serve God, I need to preach to people. But wait, I'm not educated. So he went back to school. Went back to school, oh wait, in order to preach the word of God, I need to become a priest. Okay, let's become a priest. So from pilgrim, suddenly he's priest, diba? He's a student, he's a priest. From priest, he starts to recruit people. They have a barkada. Diba, the startup gang. Oh, what do we do? Oh, sige, let's preach. Let's go to hospitals. Then after that, wait, there's so many of us. Maybe we should form a group. So his original plan of just freelancing. I'm a pilgrim. I'll freelance. Diba? I'll just do what I feel like. Suddenly he's responsible for a group. So what do you do? Diba? Do you incorporate? Do you work out of a garage? What's the first set of products? What's our branding? Diba? So you see, the journey of Ignatius as founder is the journey of every founder. Diba? The changes in strategy are the pivots. The door is closing here. Maybe the door is there. Oh, but this was my original plan. And then let's pivot. Let's change. Let's look for the new model. Let's look for where the resources are. For Tony Stark, same thing. No? He goes back home, creates a new suit. He has to learn about the suit. Diba? Challenges. How do I fly? How far can I go? As he gets it, he goes, wait, I can do something with this. Let me go back to those terrorists, wipe out the cache of arms, and things like that. So, like Ignatius and Tony Stark, challenges, you are learning skills. No? How do I do this? How do I do a cash flow? How do I do product development? How do I hire? How do I fire? Diba? And all these interesting mistakes along the way. These are the challenges of the interesting startups, the garage moments. First day we shot Green Living, I was the driver. It was my friend's van. The cameraman, I just hired that day, and the camera was still in the box. So while we were driving to the shoot, I give him the camera. Pag-aralan mo yan, ha? Please learn how it works. And we're shooting. So I don't know if it would work. I don't know if we could pull it off. We even got bumped on the road, things like that. But it worked. It worked. I was the editor. I was the writer. My friend was the host. We had to. I used my home camera to produce the tape, and we ran it to ANC, and we didn't know if it would air or not. But those interesting challenges. But challenges. We're learning not just our skill, but we're also being tested on the inside. There are character qualities being tested. Why do you do motivation? Why do you do what you do? Can you tell your story, inspire other people? Can you give feedback? Diba? Can you reprimand? Can you hire? Can you fire? Can you close a contract? Like one of the VCs said it, I want to invest in founders who know how to take a punch. Diba? Can you take a punch? Can you take the disappointment, the potential closures? And what is that teaching about what you know here, but also what you know here? Diba? Can I keep on going? Challenges teaches us about our skills, but also about our insides. The 5th chapter, of course, diba? Every video game player knows this. As you go through challenges that are getting harder, you get to the biggest challenge, diba? The boss level. The biggest, scariest opponent you will have in this level. And for all appearances, it looks like you can't. It really looks like you can't. He's bigger, larger, faster than me, and I cannot. Diba? Tony Stark goes to this crisis moment. This is the life or death moment. This is the potential, this is the biggest dragon. And they say the dragon is personal to you. Why? Because it is a reflection of your greatest fears, the thing you fear the most. Do you know that the Jesuits, by the way, do that to their candidates? It's called the trials in the novitiate. 2 men that will enter the novitiate this afternoon, they will go through trials. And the superiors listen to the fears of the novices. So one of my friends, at the dinner table with the superior, goes, "Hi, the thing I hate the most, the thing I can't stand, broken bones." Next month, they went on hospital trial. Guess where he was sent? The orthopedic hospital. Diba? Face your fears. Face your fears. The thing you fear the most. So Tony Stark has to face something larger than him, but reflection of himself, his old suit, but now it's supercharged. It's larger, it's faster, it's bigger, and it's larger, bigger, faster than him. And it looks like him, and it comes from him. Carl Jung says we face our shadows. Diba? Luke has to face his father, who looks like him, has the same origin story. Diba? Harry Potter has to face Voldemort, and somehow, as Dumbledore says, they are connected. Diba? Their origin stories are connected. They are a reflection of each other. Ignatius, I think one of the greatest challenges of Ignatius was, as he formed this group, they said, okay, let's incorporate. And that's not something you want to do. Let's found a new religious order. And the Pope says, no. Diba? Go, no go. This is the point where if Ignatius says, oh, I already founded, we already studied, we're already doing this, we already have a culture, a set of rules, and then the SEC says, no, you can't incorporate. No, you can't create this product. No, you can't. Why don't you just join another company? But here, there's another company here. They already started up, they're already incorporated. There are a few men, you just add to them, you're okay. So go, no go. Is this the end? Diba? Is this the end? The Pope and the church that Ignatius wanted to serve says no. Tony Stark has to do the same thing. Diba? Will he survive this challenge or not? Will this be the end? Can he find not just the skill and the ability to get through it, but the internal fortitude to stand up when you're down, when you feel like there's nothing more? What's that for the entrepreneur? Diba? What's that for the founder? Is it the point where you have to close? Is it the point where you're out of cash and you cannot bridge? Or you pitch to VCs and, nah, that's not the model. No, we're not interested in that. What's this point for you? I like, I really can't point to one thing. It was just this feeling of, I want to stop. I just want to stop. There's so much anxiety, uncertainty about revenue, funding, retaining people, all at the same time. Product development, all of this happening all at the same time, and you're alone. And you're alone. Ben Horowitz says in his book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things, he calls it the suffering. He goes, every founder goes through the suffering. Those moments you want to hide under the table and let the world stop. I don't want anymore. He goes, but the moments where you don't see light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to go to work the next day. And what do? And the solutions are not clear. You look for silver bullets, but there are no silver bullets. There's no one or two things you can do that will turn it around. No? It's constant daily lead bullets. No? One step in front of the next. Ben Horowitz says, yeah, how's life as an entrepreneur? How do you sleep? Oh, he goes, I sleep like a baby. I wake up every 2 hours crying and I want to poop my pants. Diba? If you're an entrepreneur, that makes sense, right? So what's that for you? What's that crisis? What's that point where maybe you want to give up, or maybe you wanted to give up, or maybe you're facing it already? What's that suffering you go through and then you can't figure out what the silver bullets are or where the light at the end of the tunnel is? I can tell you that, again, Ben Horowitz says that this is the point that defines great CEOs from mediocre CEOs. He goes, it's not brilliance, it's not great strategy, it's not network. He goes, the difference between great CEOs and mediocre CEOs, great CEOs didn't give up. They didn't give up. So our heroes fight the biggest challenge of their lives. Iron Man, Ignatius of Loyola. Do you guys know how Ignatius did? How he got the Society of Jesus Incorporated? So, like a true entrepreneur, Ignatius does not accept what the Pope says. You cannot start. You cannot start. No, entrepreneurs, right? We have problems. We find solutions where none exist. We create doors where there were once walls. We find a way. So what does he do? He talks to all his clients, all his people. He talks to his spiritual direction. And these guys are queens and princesses and royals. And he goes, please endorse me to the Pope. So he gets all these people, goes to the Pope, and they say, you know, this guy Ignatius, he's a good guy. He's a good friend. He wants to do this. I believe in him. In fact, I will back him up. So the Pope, through pressure, societal pressure, approves the Society of Jesus. So the last chapter is the return of the hero. The hero comes back after all these challenges and this big crisis. He comes back to his community with a gift. One of the gifts is the story. Look, guys, I did it. I survived. Diba? Moana cures the island. Belle transforms the beast. Ariel becomes part of their world. Tony Stark comes back to the world with a new suit and a new power. And often at this stage, there's a recognition of who I am, what I want to do, what I have to do, and how I can contribute to society and the world. So in this press conference, Tony Stark, they say it's your bodyguard who wears the suit, and he goes, no, I'm Iron Man. I'm Iron Man. I am Moana. I am Mulan. Whatever. There's a statement of this is who I am, and this is what I'm meant to do. I am Iron Man. I am the world's bodyguard. Diba? I will stop all those pain points, diba? Problems of the world. I will stop the arms race. And that's close to me because that's how my father made his money. Ignatius comes back with the Society of Jesus, the only order in the world that has no uniform, that has no schedule. No? You're not supposed to come home at 6 for Mass. You're not supposed to pray at this time, wake up and pray. He goes, no. The Jesuits have to be flexible, do anything, go anywhere so that we could serve God. Jesuits do anywhere, anything for the greater glory of God. That sense of the military practice and the discipline and that Marines still carried over. Tony Stark was like that. He doesn't change, right? He's still quirky and funny and likes the next big gadget, and he still gets into problems with his ego. But now it's for a purpose. He's trying to direct it to something. So the point of the hero's journey is that the chapters of our lives add to something. Challenges, knowing calls, are sort of telling us maybe what our gifts are. What are the things that are important to us? We all want to solve. We all see problems in the world, but we don't see the same problems. Why? Because that's the way we're built. No? Some people love the environment, some people hate traffic. No? Some people want to get into sports and be passionate about sports. Some people want to talk about fashion. It really doesn't matter. The problems you see, the pain points and the passion points you see are yours and they're unique. And maybe the hero's journey is about discovering what that journey is. Diba? What are your gifts? How do you go back into society with a gift that you can solve? And that's our exercise today. Sort of look at your own hero's journey and see what those gifts are.